Well, hello, all of you hobbyists. It's time for the annual What's on Egee's Desktop. Or I thought that I had done 2 of these styles of desktop kind of videos, and I have, but I did 2 in the same year. So I thought I did one last year, but I actually haven't. But this is 2025, and this is my desktop. Looks a lot like OG Windows to me, and I like it that way. But it's going to be changing up. I'm not going to be running this desktop for much longer. So this video, I want to show you my desktop and tell you the woes I have with it and kind of talk about where I want to move to. This isn't exactly what I wanted to be doing in September with my desktop, but I've been having tons of crashes, and this setup that you're looking at right here basically isn't even usable. So I cannot get through the day without Plasma crashing. So I have to do something, and yeah, let me show you what I got going on here. It's pretty simple. This is Arch Linux with the Plasma desktop version 6.4.5. I always like to run the LTS kernel 6.12.47, so you get the latest mainline kernel. But you know, a gripe that I have with Arch, and I'll talk about this at the end of the video, is that it updates constantly, and I don't want to be updating my kernel constantly and having tons of kernels. I don't want that. But anyway, I run the LTS kernel, and of course I'm using Wayland. So sometimes on Mastodon, I complain about X and Wayland and all of the, I guess, politics that go into it. But I use Wayland because I like it and it works good. And 90% of the time it works fantastic. And I'm not even sure if my gripes with KDE are due to Wayland. I don't know what's going on. But you know, another issue I have with KDE on Arch, or I guess this install, is that it moves too fast. So the issue that I have with the kernel version changing constantly, I have that with KDE changing constantly. In fact, I have updates ready to be run and updated and everything, and I pretty much guarantee you that there's KDE updates in there. Now, does that affect its stability? I mean, it could be. I've run this for quite some time. Actually, it looks like just Flatpaks and stuff. My browser needs updating. But you know, I've run this install since last year, 2024, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I've run this for at least a year. If you remember Hobby Linux, this is a prototype basically of Hobby Linux. I think I mentioned that in my last video, but yeah, this is Arch from when I was doing Hobby Linux, which was last year. So yeah, I've been on this for a year, and it hasn't been all buggy and crashy the whole time, you know? So this happened recently. By the way, this is my bike. I took this picture and I'm really, really happy about it. It's in my wallpaper rotation. I may have used it before, but I was looking for something different, and this one has color. It popped out at me. But I took this, and I even made a video about this, like I made a video at the time, because my bike is on the sand and it got stuck. So this picture is awesome, but the truth is my bike is stuck in the sand, and it took me like an hour to get it away from right here, and it was kind of embarrassing. But so my system is very lightweight, and I like it that way. There's not much happening here. I don't have like a bunch of services and crap in the background. I don't even have Docker running. I turn Docker off unless I need it, and then I turn it on. And then since the unit isn't enabled, it shuts off when I restart. So this is a very neat and trim setup. At idle, or while I'm recording, it's like less than 10% of my CPU. My GPU is in use, and that's because of you. I'm recording you right now, and it's using my GPU. I've got 30-something gigs of memory and 4 gigs of swap, and this is the RAM. And I typically run more than 4 gigs. I'm actually surprised it's so little, but it's not used. It's 10 megs used right now. And you can't help but notice my disk is falling over. 2 terabyte NVMe, and it's just about full. I'll show you why. And the system looks good. I showcased this tool in the KDE video I did not too long ago, and it's really good. I had gripes about this system monitor when it first came out, but I've got over it, and now I'm happy with it. I should mention my disk, though I can't really see it. Let me see if I can open up the partition manager. Yeah, there we go. I wanted to show you that this is a single partition. So a lot of people have these like fancy setups. They've got a mount here and a mount there, and they've got LVM on top of it all. I don't have anything. I just have XFS. A single 2 terabyte XFS partition. That's by design. XFS is a really underrated file system, and it works really well with giant partitions. And in the grand scheme of things, 2 terabytes actually isn't giant. We're talking petabytes. But, you know, I like to think that you got a partition set up that is meant for running giant partitions. You give it a giant partition, it's probably going to perform good. And one complaint that I don't have about the system is I/O speed. It is so fast. So I don't know if that's my own cope telling me this setup works, but by golly, it is really fast. My disk is never the bottleneck. And then yeah, 4 gigabytes of Linux swap on ZRAM. If you don't know what that is, you go find out, because ZRAM is like literally downloading RAM. It's really neat. And now I want to show you this really cool tool called Dr. Konqi. That is really what it's called, I think. Can you find out what it's called actually? It used to be called Dr. Konqi. They may have changed it and made it so you can still search for it, but yeah, as you can see, take a look at this date, September 18th. Look down here, 9/18 in American style. This is September 18th, right? Look at all of those crashes. And these aren't just, you know, silent blowups in the background. Every single one of these plasma shells, my whole system is gone. And in fact, I can show you a video of a Twitch stream where it happened. Oh, did it actually recover though? Oh, cool. Normally, oh no, there it died again. Yeah, look at this. Okay. I have been complaining about this on Mastodon, and I literally just started a stream and my plasma blew up. So that's what happens. The system just it still works, but the desktop's gone. So I just noticed there's Xorg up here. What is happening here? I don't run Xorg, so it was SDDM. Okay, this is a funny coincidence. So notice how SDDM greeter is here. So I just when I logged in a fresh session to record this, because I don't have anything else running, I couldn't log in. And I dropped to a TTY F3 and I reboot SDDM. And I guess it had seg faulted in the background. See, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, what if I was working on, what if I had a meeting or something was going on and I restarted my computer and SDDM just dumped out? I've never had that happen before. Not until the setup. That is, if we scroll down, you'll probably find more virtual, it's just tons of crashes, but Dr. Konqi himself blew up. So yeah, I'm not really sure what is going on, but my system is unstable to say the least, and I basically can't use it. So I opened Discover Backup because I wanted to ask you, these are Flatpaks, so Brave. I don't even use Brave. I'm not sure why I even have it here, but I do use Vivaldi as my main web browser, kind of. But I find that it crashes, these crazy plasma shell crashes. They happen most often when I have a Chrome app open. And notice I don't have any Chrome open right now. I don't think that OBS has anything to do with Chromium. It has you can put a Chromium component in it for the web browser thing, but that's not in use. So I don't have anything Chrome related open. But I wanted to ask, could Flatpak be causing crashes? I don't think so. I am skeptical. You know how I am, if you know me, and I complain a lot, but I don't see how Flatpak could be causing this. I can't conceive it. I don't think it interferes with the display and causes these weird seg faults, but maybe I'm wrong. Let me know. I'm not too sure. Now here is a tool called Octopi, and I open this because on Arch, there's not really a front end the way there is with, I don't even know what's out there, a Synaptic on Debian, I guess. This is as close as you get. And the weird thing is with Synaptic for Ubuntu and Debian is written in GTK 3, I think. Octopi is written in Qt, so it's like the Qt version of a package manager for a distro, I guess. But this is exclusive to Pacman and things. Anyways, I'm showing it to you because I actually use this to do my updates. So we got 26 updates, and a cool thing is it also shows you the Arch news. And here they're talking about, this was last month, I guess, but they talked about some service outages and stuff. You can see what's being installed here. So look, Linux firmware is getting installed. And I said that KDE would probably be updated at the beginning of the video, but I'm not seeing any. I just see systemd and stuff. So you can also search the AUR with Octopi with the little alien face thing, but I don't use the AUR for pretty much anything except the DVD to watch DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff. There's a package that you need to be able to decode it, I think, and that's in the AUR. And I wanted to ask, if I move away from Arch or Arch-based distros, I wonder if how do you get those on other distros, basically, is what I'm asking. So if I wanted to switch to Debian, how do you get the ability to decode Blu-rays and DVDs? I actually don't know. I'm planning to set up an HTC PC, and it could very easily just be Arch, like why not? But if I wanted to try something else, I'm not exactly sure how. You can see in the output it's building all the modules and everything. I don't use DrawCut or Boost. I tried to use Boost from following the Arch wiki, but I couldn't get it set up, and I ended up just using the, what is it, Make MKP something? I don't know what it's called, but it's what Arch uses by default to build modules and things. But I wanted to show you Paru. That's what I use for running things from the command line. And I want to show you that it's going to check AUR, which there's no updates because the thing that I install. Actually, you know what else I install through the AUR? Is this mod manager. I forgot about that, and I use it to play Repo. So I really like Repo, but I would never play it without mods, and I use a lot of mods. So actually, I do use the AUR for something. I'm sure I don't have to. I wouldn't be surprised if this was available on Flatpak. So I searched Discover and it's not there. So do I have all the sources? Yeah, I've got FlatHub. Why do I have GeForce Now? Where did that come from? I don't know about that. I didn't ask. Maybe I did. Maybe I was troubleshooting something, but I don't want it now. Get it out of here. And I figure while we're talking Nvidia, I might as well show you my drivers. 580, 580.82. Now this is another gripe. This is actually the same gripe I have with Arch, is that this updates constantly. Like constantly. And that can't be good. You don't want to be updating your display drivers. You know, they might have issues and break stuff. And if you're on Ubuntu or Debian or whatever, you just get one version and that's pretty much it. So I just, on Arch, especially going from having a stable system to an unstable system, I'm just not so kosher with constant updates. It just doesn't seem like a good policy. All right, let me show you some stuff on my desktop now. And I don't think I mentioned this. I have translucent windows and wobbly windows. Of course I do. I don't know if I'm going to show my settings. There's nothing really going on in my KDE settings. It's default. It's Breeze. It's neither of these actually, so maybe it's not default. It's Breeze Twilight, and I have I think that's the only thing that I've changed. Colors follow the wallpaper, and yeah, I've changed some of these. Or actually, I think you have to go into here and turn it on. Translucency and wobbly windows, yeah, and that lets you do that. I don't know. I'm narrating. I'm not super paying attention to the things on the screen, so maybe there was an option. I just missed it. I don't know. But this is my file setup. I don't know. Sometimes people use different ways of like managing where your stuff is. I've tried a few things, and maybe I'm crazy on this. The way that my desktop and files are laid out is actually really important to me because I need to be able to find my stuff. And I don't like searches because I don't even want to show you the search because it searches everything. It's really slow. It gives you way too much stuff. Like, do you want a document? Do you want a binary? Like, I know what I want and I know how to find it if I know where it is. So I use the default setup because when I was distro hopping, and I don't really distro hop anymore, but it was just easier to get used to what everybody else has. And this is like the default setup or whatever. So there's a few additions. Bin is my own little thing. I've got Geekbench in there. I don't know why I have Steam CMD, but I have Asebright, some other stuff. The temp folder is where just like a bunch of crap is. I don't even want to show you, but it's just a junk folder that I wipe out. And then I've got VirtualBox and games. Actually, yeah, so I do deviate a little bit, but my games folder is pretty crazy. And you might remember that my disk is like filled. So cool thing about KDE is you can just pop this open, take a look at the root folder. And while that's running in the background, I have this weird recursion. Look, it says home, Egee, desktop, home, games. But you could just go boom, and now I'm home. So this is my 1.8 terabytes. So that's a lot going on. We have pretty much the lion's share in the home folder. I don't know why the var folder. Whoa, cache? Pac-Man. 46 gigabytes of Pac-Man cache? Holy smokes. Oh, it's like a bunch of just giant things. Look, there's Nvidia, there's Linux firmware and stuff. You know, that's another gripe that I have about Arch is that even after using it for so long, I don't remember the commands. And I don't think it's because I'm getting old. I think because they're just archaic. Like to remove something, you have to do Pacman dash capital R lowercase d. What? Why don't you just do apt remove? If I want to clean this up, I would do apt auto remove and apt clean and stuff. I don't know how to do it with Pacman. And the commands are too archaic for me to remember. So, I mean, I guess that means it's just not a good fit for me, and that's fine. But here, why is Discord here? Why does Discord have stuff installed here? That's random. Is that just where it installed? There's also, I'm getting sidetracked. I just noticed there's Intel. I don't know what is going on. I have really weird stuff, but I do know where most of the device stuff is going. I've got some virtual machines that are pretty heavy. In var, that's Flatpak stuff. And it looks like Minecraft is the biggest one. And that's just like Minecraft worlds and stuff. And then my games directory, Guild Wars is pretty big. Star Wars, The Old Republic. It's just a lot of games. Just like little games here and there. But if you play games, you know what's under the local directory. It's Steam. And in Steam, Baldur's Gate is gigantic. ZeniMax Online is Elder Scrolls Online. I never play that, so I might as well just throw it away. XCOM 2, been meaning to get into it, but I haven't. I don't know. Hitman. I installed Hitman for a Egee, like a soundscape for ASMR. I used a scene from Hitman in there, and that's why that's installed. Titanfall 2, of course, is a classic. Mount Blade 2, Bannerlord. I just can't get into that game. It's really weird. And then just all the other stuff. But that's where my space is. I like to have my games installed so I can just play them on the spot. And I know that the internet's pretty fast, but doggone it, it's not fast enough. Now I want to show you my print settings because this isn't meant to be a gripe on Arch. I'm just kind of showing you the things as I encounter them. And I never did get network discovery, like device discovery on the network to work. I tried it, followed the Arch wiki and everything, and just it does not work. And now it really won't work. Normally it will at least find my printers, but I can't like install them for some reason. Now it won't even find them. So this is just a lost cause. I had some network shares on the network too, but Samba never worked, zero config never worked, nothing. Never could get it working. And I know that I have shares on this. Like I've got a Raspberry Pi and some other stuff that just can't find it. I mentioned Steam, but I also have Lutris that I use for certain things. Lutris is kind of a universal game launcher that I get lost in sometimes. I'm trying to find the settings. Oh, it's under preferences. And I've got some kind of cool stuff set up, some sources. In Lutris, I have it set to use the Nvidia GPU by default, and it even detects my AMD graphics. You can have it launch this. These are global options, so if you go to, maybe I want to look at, it doesn't so much seem to work with Steam games. Like with Daggerfall Unity, go to Configure, Runner Options, or System Options, I guess, and we can force it to use this, but other games don't have to. So that's a really cool setting, and I mention it because we're over here on Steam. Steam doesn't have this, and I don't understand why. If you want to tell a game to use a different GPU, you have to do some like weird, funny business. So here with Wild Assault, I have to do render offload as one, and then the vendor library name, and then I have to point directly to the Vulkan JSON. But if I go to Baldur's Gate, take a look at this one, I have to do the render offload, but I say the vendor library name is Nvidia. So I don't know why Steam is like that. Why is there not a button or a switch or something? It's very obtuse and it's confusing. And sometimes I feel like playing some DOS games, and a long time ago, this is some Egee lore, I set up Windows 3.1 inside of a DOS box. And it was around this era of Egee, so this was many years ago, and I set this as the background stuff. But it actually works perfectly, and I've installed some of my favorite games from back in the day on here. Ski Free. This is not something that you see every day, but can you believe how perfect that it's running? It even has sound. There's no real way for me to capture it. Actually, I heard it when I launched it. It played the Windows login sound, so hold on. So here's some Christmas singles, Joy to the World. There you go. So it plays music. It actually works for realsies. I actually have a whole bunch of games installed here. It's like Wolf 3D. This is an old game that I used to play called Exile. I think we have even more. Civilization, Chips Challenge is in here. Civilization, wait, that's SimCity, but Civilization's there too. Haunted Mansion, Gizmos and Gadgets. Yeah, this little VM is loaded. And now the last thing I want to show you about all of this is I have a backup drive that is an old style. I'm going to turn it on. You might even be able to hear it spin up. But it's an old style hard drive. It's a 2 terabyte Western Digital Black, and it's pretty old. There it is. So I usually back stuff up by year. So the last time I backed up was 2024. And that sounds like not very long ago, but I also have a home lab where I've got Nextcloud running, and that's where I back up all of my like present stateful stuff. But this 2024 is actually a bunch of years that rolled forward, because as you can see, this is actually almost out of space too. See, look at the free space, 190 free out of 2 terabytes. So this is like everything. Oh, my distro delves tester. Oh, dude. Oh, I've been looking for these, actually. It's just Egee and the Alien. Okay, it's not the ones I thought it was, but when I did my recent DistroDelve stream, I was wanting these. And come to find out, they were on my backup all along. And now the very last thing I want to show you is Geekbench. So I took some Geekbench scores. They don't mean much because I have really nothing to compare them to at this point in time. But when I bounce to the next distro, and I don't know what that'll be, I'm about to go on a ramble about it here in just a moment, I have these scores to compare it to. So I've got like an account with a bunch of historical stuff. So this is what I will compare whatever I jump to. So hopefully we'll see an improvement and not a decline in the test scores. And so since I mentioned Wild Assault, I might as well play you out with some of it. I actually recorded this footage a little while ago, and it was because I wanted to talk about a bug I was having with it. I couldn't get it working, but it fixed itself. And honestly, I don't know if it was Arch or KDE or the game. I have no idea, but I have this footage, and by golly, I'm going to use it. So here it is. So the thing I kind of want to ramble about at the very end is about KDE and less about Arch. I think I've talked enough about Arch, but KDE I have a lot of gripes about it, just like I do about Arch. But the thing about KDE is it has so many killer features. I've tried to move away from it. I started out on KDE. First video on this channel was on OpenSUSE, and it was using KDE. And here I am today using KDE. It's a really good desktop. It's just so flippin' buggy some of the time. I've even made a video on that. Why is KDE so buggy? I've made that video, and that was a long time ago. And now I'm here with a KDE desktop that can't stay stable, and it keeps falling over. So I really like KDE. I just need to find a place where it is stable and doesn't fall over, but also has the features I need. And man, some of them are built in. Like I've talked about the screenshotter. Spectacle is what it's called, I believe, and it is very, very good. I cannot live without the thing. There's also a character picker that has every emoji and then some in there, and I use that kind of often too. You can use that on GNOME or whatever you want, but I really like to keep everything. If I'm going to be on KDE, I want to keep it KDE. I want to keep it cute. Do not disturb on full screen is another really cool feature. And I have been on GNOME and XFCE. I don't know why KDE has such incredible battery life. I mean, you can't even compare it to anything else. It is so good. And most things work and continue to work as expected. The menu tray, for example, is probably one of KDE's, it's definitely one of KDE's strongest features. The tray. On GNOME, you have to get an extension to scab it on there. On Mate, it's a strange backported Etayana or some strange project. It never really works right. Each of the icons, and this is a problem with XFCE too, the behavior is inconsistent. Some icons do this, some you have to right click, some you have to left click. It's really obnoxious. Some don't even work with the mouse wheel, but on KDE they all work perfectly. And even though I've been having crashes, which I really shouldn't be having crashes, Dr. Konqi is a really cool tool. GNOME has its own crash handler thing. It has like a logs viewer and stuff, but Dr. Konqi, there's nothing as good for debugging on Linux desktop than Dr. Konqi. It's just really good. But the last thing I'll say about KDE, and this is just I'm asking the world if there is a way to stop and fix this. My meme types or mime types or however you say them keep changing, and what that means is if I go to launch an MP4, it'll launch with VLC, and then I turn around and suddenly the default app, which is the meme mime type, whatever it is suddenly Dragon Player or some other like random thing that I totally did not choose. I have a few media players installed, and maybe I should just have one, which is fair, but I have a few installed and I want to only use VLC. But every time I go to launch something, it's like somebody's just rolling dice and picking a random player, and I cannot figure out what is causing that. Is it Flatpak? Is it when Pac-Man updates it flips all the switches back? I have no idea, but that drives me nuts. It changes my default web browser too. It goes from Vivaldi to Firefox to Vivaldi to Firefox. I don't know what that's about, but hopefully wherever I move to, it doesn't do that. And that's it. That's all I'm going to ramble say about my desktop and everything. I don't have an ETA or a timeline for when I'm going to switch or what I'm going to switch to or whatever. I complain about a lot of things on Mastodon and also in Discord, so if you want to follow along there, you can, or you can just wait for the next video. I've been trying to get passionate and muster the desire to make videos for this channel again. I like tech, I just don't like how I've done it. I don't like how I've kind of worked with this channel. I need to change, and I don't know what it is, and I'm kind of trying to find out. But these desktop videos are kind of fun. They tend to do pretty good in the views, so that tells me you're kind of interested, and I'm hoping to get a little feedback. I've asked a lot of questions in this, and maybe you guys know the answers to some of them. I don't know. But until the next video, I will see you when I see you. Hope you guys have a great time, and I appreciate all your support, and thanks for watching.